Hi, this is Laura. Well, each month I ask an on-the-ground question designed to get at what's happening out there with the child-free. And in September I asked the question, was there ever a time in your adult life when you thought you wanted kids? And if so, what changed your mind? First, thanks to everybody who wrote in. Now, while a good number wrote in saying, there's never been a time when I've wanted kids, there was an equal number, though, that wrote in saying, yes, there was a time when I wanted them. And boy, did I get a variety of stories. One kind of story really boiled down to societal messaging, where people in their 20s, say maybe upwards of 30, thought they'd eventually have kids because that's just what we do in our society. But they kept fence sitting and their biological clock just waiting for it to kick in. And once they realized that parenthood is a choice, they never looked back. Other stories I got had to do with people's relationships, where people were with a partner who they knew really wanted to have kids. And after a time, with some of them, it boiled down to, they had to admit that they really didn't want to have them, even though their partner did want to have them. And that's what ended up ending the relationship in the end. Others' relationships ended for other reasons, and they went into future relationships more unswerving about their child-free position. Others told stories that had to do with religion. They had heavy influence from their church to have them get the mindset that they were going to have kids. But they also ended up, in the end, realizing that parenthood is indeed a choice. And with these folks, they had to make a bold choice not to follow their church on this one. Other stories had some interesting psychological elements I found. One was finding out you couldn't have kids, having that serve as the impetus, at least for a while, to thinking you really wanted them. And really the realization that it was more about wanting something you could never have is really what helped them change their mind. Other folks too, psychologically, if they weren't feeling so good about themselves or their life, they felt kind of lost in their lives, found themselves going through a period of wanting kids, but eventually changing their mind because they realized that having a kid was not going to be the magical answer to their life's troubles. Other people thought they wanted kids, told stories that they wanted them until they got jobs that seriously involved kids. Say such as jobs in education, child care, things like that. They realized that after being with kids all day, they did not want to go home to the role of parent. And last, boy, some stories just talked about getting pressures from family and friends, getting comments like, we all know, you'd be great parents, and or you're going to miss life's most amazing experience, or who's going to really be there when you're old? And sometimes they seriously consider these reasons, and ultimately, like the rest of the stories, it really boiled down to true lack of desire ultimately winning out. So, on the idea of who's going to be there for you when you're old, let's move to the October on the ground question. The child-free are so often asked that question, who's going to be there for you when you're old, when you don't have kids? I think we should ask the question, who do you think is going to be there for you when you're old? Or how do you envision your support system in your later years? So click the question to your right in the on the ground section. Write as much as you like. I'll collect answers over the next month and report back. Okay, see you then.